My wife died while cheating, so I skipped her funeral, left my abusive stepdaughter penniless. Hello everyone. Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Now let's begin the video. Using a throwaway for obvious reasons with certain specifics modified to preserve anonymity. My wife was cheating on me when she died, so I decided not to go to her funeral, cut off her abusive stepdaughter who was broke as hell, and took back everything I had handed over. I'm James, 32, and I run an import-export company in New York City. I built this business from scratch after spending 5 years working my ass off on cargo ships. Now I make 7 figures a year, importing premium olive oil and wine from across Greece. Not here to brag, just stating facts. This whole story ties into what's become my new normal, the chaos that's consumed my life. About 6 years ago, I met Lisa at a wine expo in Athens. She was 35, worked as the marketing boss for a luxury hotel chain, and man, she was stunning, the kind of woman who commands attention just by walking in. She came over to my booth, complimented my selection of Assertico, and we ended up talking for 3 hours straight. She was smart, quick-witted, and genuinely seemed to care about my take on business. Red flag number 1, which I totally ignored like a damn idiot. Within the first hour, she brought up her messy divorce and her plans to start fresh in New York, but her eyes were hypnotic, and I was basically thinking with my other head. She had a 14-year-old daughter, Emma. When Lisa introduced us, her daughter barely glanced up from her phone. Whatever, I thought. Teenagers, right? We dated for about 8 months. Lisa subtly pushed for us to be more serious, hinting that stability would be good for Emma and mentioning her unreliable ex with support payments. She'd cook fancy dinners at my place, always talking about how much Emma would thrive in a stable 2-parent home. The sex was incredible. She definitely knew what she was doing, and I was hooked. Every time I had doubts, she'd do this thing with her tongue that would melt my brain into complete mush. We ended up getting married in Santorini. Her idea, my money, euros 50, zero for a wedding with 200 of her closest friends and family. I had just 20 people there, should have been a warning sign. Exactly 2 months after saying I do, the sex stopped completely. Not slowed down, just abruptly ended like someone switched off a switch. Suddenly, she'd be exhausted from work, say she had migraines, or claim she was worried Emma might overhear us. We went from daily intimacy to maybe once a month, and even then she looked like she was doing me a favor. Meanwhile, Emma turned into a nightmare the moment that ring was on her mom's finger. This girl would waltz into my home office during important calls, blasting music, spill wine on my laptop, swipe cash from my wallet, then cry and tell Lisa I promised it to her. Lisa's go-to excuse: she's traumatized from the divorce. Be patient. You're the adult here. Yeah, I was being played like a fool, and I knew it. But I'd built this life. Successful businessman, beautiful wife, house in Brooklyn, and I convinced myself it'd get better. I paid for everything. Emma's schooling. That was another joke, $25 a year for her at some college where she half failed. Therapy sessions twice a week where she mostly bitched about how stupid I was. Designer clothes, the latest iPhone, trips to Paris with her friends, all on my dime. About 3 years ago, Lisa started working late, saying she had important clients from Dubai and Russia who needed entertainment. I wasn't stupid. I knew what entertainment meant in the hotel biz. Still, she always came home, had receipts, colleagues who vouched for her. Then came the girls' trips, once a month, just her and her friends, to Mykonos, Crete, Athens, always places with beaches and clubs. She'd come back exhausted but refreshed, and with lingerie I never got to see her wear, but I did notice her changing. That's when I decided to stop being a victim. Last month I finally did what I should have done years ago. I hired a private investigator. Best €5, €0 I ever spent. His name was Mike. He's a personal trainer at Titan Fitness in Brooklyn, 28, ex-military, muscle for days, basically a Greek god. And he had the evidence. Photos. Hotels in Chalkatiki, places not even far enough away to be discreet. Trips she took alone with friends. She'd meet him in the parking lot, drive to some resort, have late nights at his apartment downtown. Turns out they'd been screwing for a whole year, and I hadn't even confronted her. Why? Because I'd been busy. While she was busy screwing Yannis, the married trainer, I'd been moving assets, liquidating, restructuring, creating new companies, shifting money to accounts she didn't know about. Greece's divorce laws are tricky. She could claim half our assets. But if I kept everything hidden in failing businesses or poorly invested assets, courts couldn't split what wasn't there. I've been documenting everything, receipts of her nonsense, every time she refused intimacy, every girl's trip, every late night. I even kept a spreadsheet. My lawyer, top in Brooklyn, tells me I now have enough to bury her in court. She's about to head to our villa in the Hamptons for another girl's weekend, but I know Yannis took time off from the gym. They're going to be in that house I paid for, probably laughing about how pathetic I am. And they're right, I've been pathetic. But that ends today. I already filed the divorce papers. She'll get served at the villa, and while she's gone, I'll change the locks at my Brooklyn apartment. All legal. All in my name, her credit cards, canceled at midnight. The BMW she drives, reported stolen since it's in my company's name. Next semester's tuition for Emma, not my problem anymore. The apartment near the university, lease ends next month, not renewing. I'm done being the wallet, the stable provider, the doormat for this toxic marriage. Some people say I'm cruel. Think of the kid, they say, that I should be the bigger person. F that. I've been the bigger person for 6 years. I've smiled through the pain, paid the bills, let her and her daughter treat me like a walking ATM. No more. It's been 3 hours since I posted that, and she just texted me saying she's stuck in traffic. Baby, might be late, don't wait up. Yeah, I won't. I'll be at my lawyer's office making sure everything is airtight. Then came an update. Holy shit. I just got a call. There was an accident. I had to go. Update 2, she's dead. I don't even know how to process that. 2 hours after my last post, the police called. Single car crash on the Thessaloniki highway. Her BMW was wrapped around a tree. She died instantly, probably, without feeling a thing. But here's the killer. She wasn't alone. I rushed to the hospital. The whole way I was cycling through feelings I couldn't even name: grief, relief, guilt, anger, mostly anger. She died before I could finally divorce her. At the hospital, the police pulled me aside. They said I should prepare myself. She wasn't alone in the car. There was a survivor. A young guy with minor injuries, cuts, bruises, maybe a concussion. And I knew his name before they even told me. Yannis. They led me to the ICU, and there he was, this Greek Adonis lying with bandages all over, wearing a hospital gown. The nurses told me he'd been brought in minimally dressed. His clothes were in a bag, gym shorts and sandals. The kid was high from painkillers, eyes wide as I walked in. When he saw me, he started babbling, apologized, called me brother, said it wasn't what I thought. Told me she told him I'd let her go. She was unhappy with me, that I knew about them, but I just stared. How long? I asked. 14 months, he whispered. Longer than I expected. Longer than the pie had caught. Were there others? I pressed. He looked away. That answer was enough. I left without another word. What's the point? She was dead, he was nothing, just another guy who'd left her while I paid for her life. A doctor caught up to me in the hall. They needed me to identify her. Did I want a moment? No, I wanted to see her. She looked tiny. The woman who dominated my life for 6 years, who made me feel like shit for not being enough, who gaslit me into thinking I was the problem. It was just a broken body on a metal table. The doctor said she died instantly, that she probably never felt a thing. Speeding at 140 km/h, no skid marks, just boom into the tree. I signed the papers. They asked about funeral arrangements, and I told them I'd think about it. As I headed out, Emma, her daughter, showed up. She was 20, dressed like she was heading to a club, fake lashes and all. She saw me and started screaming. "This is your fault, you drove her to this," she yelled. "She was miserable with you." I let her rage, let her shout in the lobby. Security started moving closer. I waved them off. When she ran out of steam, she threw down her typical guilt trip. "You need to handle the funeral. Mom would want something beautiful, and I'll need money for everything." That was the breaking point. I felt that rubber band snap. No violence, just complete release of tension. I looked at her and told her no. She asked, "What do you mean no?" I said, "Your marriage to her is over, past tense, and I've had enough of it. Of you her this fake family, I walked out. She followed me outside, screaming about responsibilities, what people would say, how I'm abandoning her in her time of need. I got into my car, not the company Audi she chased, and drove home. She was still yelling as I pulled away. It's been 24 hours, my phone won't stop ringing. Her family, who never cared about me, only contacted me when they wanted something. Her friends, who probably knew about her affairs, left voicemails of shame. Emma's calling, leaving unhinged messages about how I'm a monster. The funeral home called. They need decisions. I gave them Emma's number. My lawyer also called, wanted to know if this changes any asset. Plans? Nope, I told him. It's all faster now. Because I realized sitting here with the last bottle of Greek wine I imported, I'm finally free. She died cheating, probably with another man's asterisk still inside her. And I'm supposed to mourn, play the grieving husband, pay for some grand funeral for a woman who spent our whole marriage lying and cheating. F that. Tomorrow I'm canceling every damn card, stopping all automatic payments, anything tied to her or Emma. The apartment near the university. Lease ends next month. Done. The bills for her family's phones paid off and cut. I'm done being a piggy bank. Honestly, I'm not even sad. Is that fucked up? After 6 years with that cheat, all I feel is lighter, like I've been dragging a boulder around and someone finally knocked it off my back. The Greek Orthodox Church says I should forgive, honor her memory, take care of Emma. Screw that. The church can kiss my ass. Update: Emma just posted on Instagram picture of her and Katerina, some sad story about losing her best friend. The GoFundMe link is there, aiming for €20, €0 for funeral expenses and to get back on my feet. She raised €500 in 2 hours. Good luck with the rest. It's been a week since Katerina died with her personal trainer Yannis in the car, and the drama has hit new heights I never imagined. First, let me clear something up from my last post. A lot of you said I was heartless for talking about Emma like that she's just a kid who lost her mom and I should be the bigger person. Well, hear what Emma been up to. The day after Katerina died, while I was sorting police reports and hospital stuff, Emma broke into my Brooklyn apartment. Not with a key, her fateful mother had already changed the locks. She told the building manager she was in emotional distress and needed some photos of her mom. He let her in. But she didn't take pictures. She stole my Rolex collection, €80, €0 worth, plus Katerina's jewelry, another €50, €0, and my Euros office jersey from Yannis. She also tried grabbing my laptop but got spooked when a neighbor came to check on the noise. Lucky for me, I have security cameras, which she forgot about in her grief. I called the cops, filed a report, showed them the footage. They picked her up at her friend's place wearing my Rolex, trying to sell my Omega to some shady dealer. She's out on bail now, paid for by Katerina's sister. We'll get to that mess in a bit. Now about her funeral. Katerina's family, who I paid to support for 6 damn years, suddenly turned traditional Greeks. Her mom, who hadn't darkened a church door in ages, was wailing about her proper burial and needing a grand send-off. The funeral director called me 8 times, each time with more demands. A €15, €0 mahogany casket, €5, €0 for Orthodox service with paid mourners, €25, €0 for a burial plot, €10, €0 for a reception. Total, €55, €0 for a woman who died sucking another man, asterisk asterisk. I sent a single text, I'll pay for cremation, done. They lost their minds. Her sister Alani came into my office with a priest, trying to shame me into paying more. The priest said she was her wife before God, and I told him she was effing her trainer before God too. The priest left, but Alani kept trying every manipulation, tears, guilt, threats to tell everyone I'm a monster. I told her to go ahead. I refused to spend €55. Burying a cheater. Then she called me that night, saying someone tried to access Katerina's life insurance policy where I was the beneficiary. Only there was no insurance. Katerina canceled it 2 years ago, cashing out €30, €0, and never telling me. I checked bank records, €30, €0 transferred to a mystery account. Guess whose? Yannis. My dead wife had handed over my money and my life insurance money to him. The pie dug further. There were 4 men over 6 years, including a Pilates instructor, a Dubai client, her best friend's husband, and Yanni's. All caught on credit card receipts, hotel stays I thought were business gifts, even a weekend in Paris that she called a marketing conference. The real kicker: a secret bank account holding €200, €0 stolen over those 6 years, small transfers, cash back at stores, treatments that never happened, all in her name at Alpha Bank. She was planning to leave, and the pie uncovered emails with a lawyer about divorce. She was going to claim abuse, say I was controlling, manipulative, paint herself as a victim looking for alimony, wanting half my business. The accident saved me from that scam. Now, a week after the funeral, her family scraped together some money for a basic service, which I didn't attend. Instead, I was at my lawyer's office filing claims for theft and fraud. Emma's face on her social media, full of abuse and claiming I dishonored her mother. Her GoFundMe, up to €3, €0 with €2, €0 needed for rent because I evicted her from the apartment. Yanni's is out of the hospital, tried contacting me through Instagram, saying he wants to make amends and honor Katerina. I screenshotted that and sent it to his boss for the trainer messing around with married women. He's now unemployed. Katerina's family is threatening to sue me for emotional damages. My lawyer laughed his ass off when I told him that €200, €0 frozen pending investigation is actually mine. She stole that money illegally and I'll get it back. Her clothes, designer labels, are already being sold off. I made €20, €0 just on bags. I burned her wedding photos in my fireplace with a glass of my best Assertico in hand. I don't feel guilty, only regret that I didn't see the truth sooner. Not trusting my gut, not protecting myself from the start. That's my only real regret. I'm 32, built a successful business, own property, have plenty in the bank, more than ever now that I'm not funding her or Emma. I'm in killer shape because rage is a hell of a workout. Last night I sat alone at a wine bar in Brooklyn, ordered a bottle of wine imported from Greece, and actually enjoyed it without anyone asking for a sip or complaining I work too much. The owner, a woman about my age, struck up a chat about wine. We talked for 2 hours about terroir tannins, importing. She even gave me her card. For the first time in 6 years, I went home feeling hopeful. Katerina's dead, Emma's someone else's problem, and the leeches who hung onto me are cut off. I'm finally truly free. Update: Alani just messaged. The cemetery is saying she owes €20, €0 more, or they'd have to dig up Katerina and move her to a cheaper spot. I responded with a thumbs up emoji. Then my lawyer called. The pie found another €50, €0 hidden in cryptocurrency. She was smarter than I thought. And then there's Yanni's. A few days ago, he reached out, but not directly. He's been trying to contact me through a mutual acquaintance who supplies gym equipment. Turns out he's done for. No gyms in Greece will hire him. His reputation's destroyed after the scandal. He tried online training, but my website ranks better for Greek imports. So he moved to Cyprus, lasted 2 months, until a client's husband recognized him from my site and beat him bloody in a gym parking lot. Now back in Greece, working construction, living with his parents, Luke Skywalker turned bricks on a dime. And here's the best part: he's got medical bills. Turns out that crash wasn't minor. Spinal injuries, ongoing treatment, €50, €0 over 2 years. Greece's insurance won't cover what he needs. His parents are farmers, broke as hell, no help. So he swallowed his pride, asked my mutual friend to ask me for a loan. 7 years of screwing around with my wife, and he now wants me to pay for his recovery. I met him at a cafe in Larissa. He looked terrible, abs gone, replaced by a soft belly and faded clothes. I told him, "You have no reason to ask me, but I'm curious. Why should I help you?" He rambled about pain, about Katerina pursuing him, how he was just young and stupid. I showed him a picture of me and Maria on a yacht, champagne in hand, more than his monthly salary. "This is my life now," I told him. No lies, no treachery, just proof that I've moved on. He started crying, begging me to help. I just finished my coffee, looked him in the eyes and said, Yannis, you left her in my house, in my bed, with my money paying for your fun. You mocked me for being a provider. I was wrong. I'm not a provider, I'm a businessman, and you're a bad investment. I left him crying in his frappe, and the universe decided to throw one last punch. 3 days ago, Emma tried to contact me again, through her lawyer no less. She's suing me for emotional damages and unlawful eviction, claiming I owe her support because I supposedly have a duty to care for her. She says publishing her affair was harmful. Her lawyer demanded €100, €0, or they'll go to court. I laughed so hard Maria thought I was losing it. My lawyer responded with a full dossier. Her criminal record, the stolen Rolexes, her expulsion for defamation, her signed confession of €130, €0 worth of stolen goods. They dropped the case within a day. Turns out she can't even afford her lawyer. They worked on contingency, expecting a payoff. Only they're now suing her for their fee. Last I heard, she's living with a 45-year-old guy who owns a tourist shop in Hokkaido, working as a stepdaughter for his 2 kids, trading youth for rent just like her mom taught her. The cycle keeps spinning. But the best part, the villa I wanted to sell, Too Many Memories of Betrayal, is finally sold. A Russian oligarch bought it for €2 4 million cash yesterday. When I signed, he mentioned he knew about Katerina, saw my website, said, when a woman dies in bed, it's divine justice. You're lucky, my friend. She took half my life before she died. Now I'm €4 million richer. That villa's gone, replaced with money to fund my business expansion. Maria and I had dinner afterward. I told her about Yannis begging for money, about Emma's failed lawsuit, about the Russians' toast. She asked how I felt. I said, like I won. Not because they're suffering, I don't care about that, but because I'm thriving despite their best efforts to sink me. She raised her glass to the best revenge, living well with someone who adds value. We went back to her place, done with hiding, no phones, no headaches, just honest connection. This morning I woke up in her apartment, sunlight streaming in, her making Greek coffee. I felt peace, not dread or suspicion. Not checking bank statements, not wondering if she's lying, just peace. 6 months ago I thought my life was over, my wife dead, her family attacking me, social media treating me like a villain. Now I have a partner, my business is booming, I'm in great shape. I took up boxing, it's fantastic therapy, my bank account's overflowing. The parasites, they're exactly where they deserve to be. Yannis is broken, Emma is struggling to pay rent, and Katerina's family is fighting over flowers at her grave. Some of you might say I'm cold, should have had mercy, should forgive. But I say, fuck forgiveness. That's what got me in trouble. Justice is better. And sometimes it's about letting people face the consequences of their choices. Katerina cheated, died in a crash I paid for. Emma robbed me and tried to frame me. Yannis cheated and is now a broke construction worker. And me? I chose to protect myself, too. Stop being a victim, to value my worth over theirs. That decision led me here, better than I ever was with those parasites. Listen, if you're stuck in an echo chamber where you're being used, cheated, drained, know this. You owe them shit, your money, your forgiveness, your suffering. Cut ties, let them fall. Build something stronger from the ashes. The best revenge, living your life on your terms with someone who genuinely adds value. Not served cold, but at champagne temperature in a crystal flute, toasted to your freedom. I'm out. Postscript, 1 year later. I wasn't planning to update, but today felt like closure. Maria and I were at a wine expo in Athens, full circle, but this time with a woman who brings her own success. As we set up our booth, I heard a familiar voice. I turned. There's Elani, Katerina's sister, but not the entitled, designer-clad woman who tried to shame me into paying thousands. No, this was a tired, worn woman in a catering uniform. Elani, I acknowledged. She looked at her sister's display, then her face flickered with shame and envy. She hesitated, then finally said, I owe you an apology. Katerina was right about everything, the affairs, the theft. Her plan to divorce you. I just nodded. What do you have to say? I asked. She looked down, tears forming. I loved her, but she was broken, toxic. She destroyed everything good in her life, including you. I told her I wasn't destroyed, I was freed. She nodded, crying. Emma's pregnant now. The shop owner kicked her out after her latest stunt. She called me last week begging for money. When I said I had none, she told me I was dead to her. I simply said, "Karma." She nodded and I watched her walk away. Maria came over, took my hand and said, "You okay?" I smiled. Better than okay. Watching Alani disappear into the crowd, I thought, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Business thriving, love genuine, life peaceful. The parasites, gone, the truth, out there for anyone willing to look. And Katerina, she's exactly where she belongs, 6 feet under in a hole her family can barely afford. Not remembered as the devoted wife and mother, but as a cheat who died with another man's *** inside her. Poetic justice couldn't get much more poetic. And the latest update, Emma tried to add me on LinkedIn, blocked, reported. Meanwhile, my accountant called hidden funds cryptocurrency her assets, euros 300 richer than before she died. Sometimes cutting off parasites is profitable. Alani, another scammer, begged me for €5, €0 on a new number. I sent her a screenshot of the contract she signed, then blocked her again. And 6 months later, here's the final chapter. I've been living life on my terms, free of her and her ilk. I wasn't planning to update again, but honestly, the past week's been eye-opening. Business is better, my life is better, and I feel better than I have in years. So here's the lesson. If you're in a bad place, used, cheated, drained, remember you owe them nothing. Cut the string. Build your future, the best revenge. Living a life that makes you happy with someone who truly deserves you. Cheers to that.